Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is facing our possibility, really, and the fear that arises when we're confronted with stepping into our destiny. That's really the topic, is stepping into our destiny. And it'll be an interesting conversation because I see this dynamic over and over, and it's very curious to me. So anyway, we'll discuss it in just a minute. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to get present and uh, bring ourselves fully here. So let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding your lungs and flowing into your bloodstream and nourishing all your cells and all your organs. And as you exhale, exhale any stress, tension, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. This time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out and illuminating and electrifying and energizing your cells, your molecules, your electrons, and creating a glow from the inside out. And as you exhale, exhale any remaining fatigue, stress, tension, negativity. And now let's gently press our palms together and just really softly feel that sensation in your fingers and in your palms, and allow yourselves to become present right here, right now. Welcome, welcome. Great to have you guys here. Good morning, Rosalind. Good morning, Robert. It's great to be here with you as always, and welcome to everybody else who's joining us. So we're talking about stepping into destiny. And I was speaking about this at the end, near the end of yesterday, where I was talking about a conversation that I had with a client about creating a statement. I call them incantations, and invocations, to invoke our highest self and to wake us up or bring us present to our soul's calling, so that we can step up and into that expression of ourselves that we came here to embody. And I've seen this in myself. I've seen this in other people when looking at the possibility of who they are, like really, really connecting with the vision or the expression of life, that they came here to live through and live into. Good morning, Andrea. Welcome. Great to have you here with us this morning. So, the response that people have, and that I had, and that many people have when creating or thinking about creating this amazing incantation to call them forward into life, is fear. And I find that so fascinating. Welcome, Duncan. I don't think I've seen you here before. So welcome, welcome. Thanks so much for saying good morning. Um, yeah, so how about this? Like, when we think about what our possibility is, we get fearful. And I've seen this in session work with clients um, where it's a time of where they know they're about to cross the threshold into a new and bigger expression, or they're letting go of an old pattern, or moving into a new a new perspective, letting something go and stepping up into something new or bigger or whatever. There's this deep fear, excitement and fear. Good morning, Tammy. Welcome, welcome. Great to have you here. We're talking about stepping into destiny, and the dynamic of when we face our own potential for greatness. Oh, Duncan's been here under different names. Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, welcome back. So you're living out multiple personas here, huh? It's interesting that we're talking about this transformation, and you're here under different names. That's interesting. So good morning, Lisa. Great to have you here. So I think this is such an interesting dynamic when we face the prospect of stepping into our greatness, truly stepping into our greatness. The reaction is often one of real deep fear. And I find that so fascinating, because I'm wondering, what is the nature of that fear? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it is it fear of what is it? What is it fear of? I this dynamic, we the idea of creating this invocation. It's calling our soul into expression. And what happens as we do that, as we create this vision expression of ourselves, to step up and into, to elevate ourselves into, what happens is that I guess we realize that we get to leave behind the illusion of our smallness, and maybe it's the removing of the veils that is so frightening. Maybe it's the idea that we really can step into unlimited power, creation, to be able to step into this um, I'm thinking that it has to do with recognizing our own power, that we do have the power and capacity to be creators. And maybe it's the awareness of the responsibility of that, or I'm not sure. I'm wondering if you have insight into that. Rosalind says, I struggle with the unknown and unclear what the steps or whole vision looks like. But destiny is trust to move toward transformation. I love that, Rosalind. So I'm clear on what the steps or the whole vision looks like for sure. And so maybe that's the fear, but I think it's kind of like fear and quaking at the feet of the greatness that we really truly are, maybe. But to continue, destiny is trust to move toward transformation. So the transformation, um, I agree, it's trust, and the transformation is something that is the unknown, right? Because we don't know what will be on the other side, but we know that it's going to be different. We know that it's going to be something radically, uh, radically, fundamentally different, and can't conceive of that from where we are. It's kind of like jumping off a cliff. There's you don't it's going to be really different, but you don't know what it is. And then Rosalind says everything that brings you joy, that lifts your soul, that makes you smile was put in place just for you. I love that, Rosalind. Wow, that is gorgeous. Everything that brings you joy, that lifts your soul, that makes you smile was put in place just for you. I think that on some level, I do believe that we engineer our lives even before we get here, that we kind of plan that what our life is going to be. We set it up. And then we get to, maybe there are choices once that's set up. So Duncan says, I think treading new waters is a bit daunting, but it's now or never, right? Let's get it, guys. Absolutely. It is now or never, for sure. And I believe that we get glimpses, we get called to greatness, and we can call ourselves into being. We can invoke ourselves into being by creating this invocation, so to speak, that requires us to rise into that higher expression. Lisa says, I know the vision, but I don't know how to take the next steps. I've changed a lot over the last year, and I'm ready. I went out Saturday and lived on the edge of my comfort zone. For the first time, I let go and danced like everyone is watching. Lisa, congratulations. Good for you to really, really step out and into your expression. That's beautiful. And good morning, Abla El-Azri, um, who says, yes, it's true. We choose our parents. I, I, I think that that's true. I think not only do we choose our parents, but we choose our challenges, and we choose our grace, and we choose our talents. And, maybe we even engineer the circumstances, beyond, like, throughout our entire lives. It's an interesting, and welcome to you, Abla, because I don't believe I've seen your name here before either. Lisa says the feeling was incredible to just let go and dance. That's a perfect metaphor for what's available to us in life, is to just let go and dance, to be expressed, to be ourselves. And I think when we experience it's great to have you here, Alba, and I'm delighted that this is your first time. What a great conversation to come in on today when we're talking about really expressing our highest selves, our greatest capacities, our greatest capabilities. When we see the possibility of our lives, when we recognize our actually what it is stepping outside ourselves to recognize our fullest capacity, because when we're contained in our own small world, we actually work to keep ourselves small. And what would you be? Who would you be? How would you express in the world if you were completely unbridled, if you unharnessed all that energy, all that power, all that intention, and became the force of life itself? You know, that you became the fullest unbridled expression of intention on this earth that you have the capacity to be. What would that be like? It could be, just the thought of it could be daunting, right? Rosalind says transformations are sometimes so slow and subtle we can't even see or don't have awareness they're happening. That's so true, Rosalind, because at every moment we are transforming, we are changing, and sometimes those transformations are slow and gradual, and sometimes they are radical. Sometimes they happen in a flash, and sometimes, you know, there is a glimpse. And I think what we're talking about today is this glimpse of possibility that is so radically different, so radically expanded, that it's it's kind of like I'm thinking of being at the summit of a mountain and seeing the whole world from that vantage point versus being at the foot of that mountain and barely being able to see the top. And so having that glimpse of yourself in that expression at the top of the mountain, from the foot of the mountain, it's almost unimaginable to conceive of yourself and your capability to be living from that place. Lisa says it only took 57 years and I can't wait to go do it again. That was dancing. So wonderful for you, Lisa. And you know what? You can do it in your house. You don't have to be out and doing it, but just to be loving that dance. And that's something that we can all embrace, is loving the dance. Duncan says, I could listen to your voice for hours. I love your knowledge. Thanks for helping us all grow. We appreciate you a lot. Duncan, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I almost begged out this morning because I was having, and still am having, some really weird physical experiences. Like I was just like almost like somebody drained all the energy out of me, or somehow, feeling cold and sweating at the same time. Like my heart was doing weird things, just feeling very alien in my body. And so I almost just thought I would give you guys a note and say, I'll see you tomorrow, but I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad to be here with you as always. It's such a blessing to be sharing this time with you. And I think, when we think about mission and vision and purpose, which is very much at the heart of, or the cornerstone of, what I'm up to with clients and with everybody, is have us all empowered to be our fullest expression, to fulfill the mission of our soul that we came here to fulfill. Lisa says, well, thank you guys sending me all this wonderful energy. Lisa says, I had that feeling. Your words normally flow like water. I hope you feel better. Thank you, Lisa, for that. Yes, I'm not as fluid in language today because I am navigating some really weird body sensations right now. So it's kind of like tapping your head and rubbing your belly at the same time. I'm trying to stay here, keep a thought. But when we have a glimpse of what's available to us and who we can be truly, it can be intimidating and daunting. Hello, Elaine, welcome. Great to have you here. And my feeling is that when we see this vision of who we can be and our response is fear, to me, that means that's the thing. That's the thing that we came here to do. That's the thing that we are challenged to do. That's the thing that we are called to step into. And Avla says, we came here to remember and recognize who we are. Thank you for the love and healing, Avla. So I believe that when we are faced with our greatness, we have a choice. It can be very daunting. It can be frightening. It can feel life-threatening because in a certain way it's threatening our small identity and calling us into a greater and higher expression. So I remember when I first looked at my vision of the eco park, and I've talked about the eco park with you guys a bunch. It's my vision for what I call a phantasmagorical, inspirational, interactive, experiential theme park, so to speak, not rides, but a place that is all about sustainability and exemplifies all different modalities and technologies, etc. And when I looked at that, I was just, it took my breath away. You know, there was a terror at stepping into ownership of that. And I think part of that terror was because I knew that I would have to play a bigger game, that I would have to become something more than I was able to imagine myself to be. You know, that I would have to stretch into a new way of being and up level, you know, that I would have to find and experience and express resources within myself that I didn't even know I had. And it was terrifying. And the most invigorating thing that I have done in my life, it's given me my life to step into that sense of purpose. Elaine says, yes, facing the fear is so powerful. On the other side of fear is the real you. Over and over and over again, Elaine, for sure. You know, that as we face our fears, especially the fear of our own greatness, as we face our fears, we emerge more and more fully into our truest expression. So I invite you to step into that highest imagining of who you can be, and to take the steps within your life to align yourself with that potential, like to give up thinking small, to let go of the limitations. I was going to talk about, I was going to call today's talk limits, but I think stepping into destiny is really what the world is calling for from us now more than ever, because we all have a sacred mission, and it doesn't have to be grand, but we all have a purpose that, or a potential that is sitting there waiting, calling us forward into expression and service. It's our greatest service, interestingly, in becoming most fully ourselves. That is our greatest pathway of service as well. So Elaine says, I love standing in those that come to face fear or terror. I love standing with those that come to me to face fear or terror. Yes, yes, so much love. Exactly. When you get to stand with those people, there's such, you're empowering them, and as they move through that fear, it's empowering for you as well, or for me as well, like being able to support people in their in moving into their fullest expression and beyond their fear. It's enlivening and invigorating for sure. And Rosalind says, celebrate and allow, even if you feel discomfort. And sometimes, especially if you feel discomfort, right, Rosalind? So we get to embrace that movement for sure, through that discomfort and into a more expanded self. Lisa says, fear of what other people think gets me, especially where my daughter is concerned. Yes, Maggie's being very entertaining this morning, Duncan. So fear of what other people think, and especially where your daughter is concerned. So I think the freer we are able to make ourselves from what other people think, the more fully we'll be able to express ourselves. You just went dancing, right? And said essentially, I don't care what other people think. Let them think what they think. I'm going to be me. I'm going to express me. And that is what we get to do. That's what we're here for, is ultimately to be more fully expressed, more authentically expressed. And that exists on all kinds of levels, from dancing like nobody's watching or like everybody's watching, to fulfilling a higher purpose. And Rosalind says, non-attachment to what happens next. Exactly. So this the non-attachment is applicable on all levels, a non-attachment to our ideas of ourselves, non-attachment to the ideas that others have about us. And we're covering some pretty broad territory today. So Elaine is replying to Lisa saying it is a common fear, the fear of what other people think. And you can go deep in love for yourself and find clarity and find peace and love as you build a strong confidence in yourself, and it won't matter what other people think. And the truth is that ultimately it doesn't matter what other people think, you know, and what we think about what other people think, you know, if you think about it, it goes in a circle because we're the ones that make it matter that other people think what they think. Ultimately, we get to choose to not make it matter. And Duncan says, hope the angels don't face palm me when I dance around my lounge room. Lisa says Saturday was a big step. Absolutely. Dancing because your heart wanted you to dance. It is a big step, and you can allow that to be a metaphor beyond. You can allow that to be a metaphor for how you choose to step into your expression in all different arenas, Lisa. So good for you. And Elaine says it doesn't matter what other people think, but sometimes it takes a little work to get there to remember that. I agree, Elaine, it does. And see, the idea of what other people think is something that we're processing through our own thoughts also, right? So we ultimately get to decide how we're going to integrate what others think. And so a lot of times we just make up what others think or what we think others think. We don't really know what other people are thinking. We make it up. And why would we make up stories that inhibit us versus stories that expand us? So stepping into destiny, we get to make our story epic if we choose to. And the interesting thing about that is that as we embrace this bigger epic story, what happens is that it becomes less about us and more, it changes the focus from inward to outward in so many ways. We stop fixating on ourselves and are more engaged in the expression of that higher purpose or vision. So I think I'm gonna call it a wrap for today. So much love for you, such appreciation to be able to share this time with you. And I think that's it. So I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Enlightened World Network Facebook page. It's such a joy to be with you. Please check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network, and I look forward to being here again with you really soon. Thanks so much. Lots